My name is Katarina, and I'm 19. My mom is Ojibwe and Mohawk. So growing up, that's the culture I grew up in. I'm learning a lot about Indigenous art. It's all throughout my house. You can see it on the walls here in this porch. I really do feel like I have a real open communication with my mom. We have a really strong relationship. She's really more than my mom, she's my best friend now too. My dad died when I was 13. When I lost my dad, it really had a profound effect because I was a teenager. So, I was just starting high school the next year. I think I had to grow up a little faster than some of my friends, and they really didn't understand what I was going through. I didn't have a lot of time with him, but I'm so thankful to him for raising us children the way he did. I really appreciate that, his philosophy on being truthful, and he was a really kind soul as well. I feel it's very important to be supported by my family. I'm really lucky to have the family support that I do for any decisions that I make or things that I choose. They support me. They support my choices. And I'm lucky because a lot of deaf people don't necessarily have the same kind of support system that I do. There's only really 1 or 2% of deaf people in the world who have access to communication, who are literate, who are able to read. So that's only 2% of deaf people in the world. I could tell you one story. It's a pretty significant story too. It happened in grade 10. I wanted to go to Europe on a school trip, and the principal, vice principal were really supportive, so that was fine. And so I went to meet with the teacher, and I asked them if I could sign up for the trip, and they told me no, that I couldn't. And when I asked them why, they said they didn't want to be responsible for a deaf person. They felt like a deaf person was too much responsibility to take on, and that they would have to be watching out for me too much, and I would need too much help. So they were very discriminatory. That was a huge experience of discrimination against me. And then last summer, I just went to Europe on my own, without my parents, and I did just fine. I have a lot of friends, and a lot of really different friends. I've got deaf friends, I've got friends that aren't deaf. We're all a good balance, I think, to have friends in both areas. I do have some friends who aren't deaf, who can communicate on a basic level in sign language, like they make an effort at least. And then with my deaf friends, of course, they're fluent in American Sign Language. So we just sign with each other. My friends that aren't deaf, it can be tough to communicate, right? So then I'll use text to communicate with them. It's really important to have communication. Without communication, it's going to have an effect on your mental health. And not just for deaf people, but for any person. Sometimes I'll talk with other friends who are involved in the movie industry or interested in getting involved in the movie industry. And we'll talk about that, interests and ideas. I know I'm interested in post-production, like really interested in that. How you edit, how you bring the whole film together cohesively. So I'm really interested in that at this point, but I want to explore. I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest, just about being a deaf person and the barriers I might be confronted with in the industry. Because people that aren't deaf, sometimes, a lot of them don't know how to communicate with a deaf person. That makes them nervous. So they may not want to even bother, they may not want to try. They would need to understand that I'm capable of doing that work, and I think it would just be easier for me to be successful in the industry if people accept that. Do look at deaf people sometimes as being disabled, and I want to prove them wrong. I want to prove to people that I'm not disabled. Don't be afraid to get out there and network with people, whether they're deaf or not. You can stand up for yourself. If something isn't right, if you feel that people aren't meeting your needs, then stand up for yourself. You need to not think that just because you're deaf, that you should let other people push you around or anything like that. That you need to make sure you follow what your interest is and your passion is, that kind of thing. And if there are barriers, then the biggest barrier probably to your success is yourself. if you don't take it on.